Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are having Aditya Agrawal with us. Right now he is interning with Optmyzr and holding the full-time job opportunity of LOWE'S India. So without wasting further time, we are going to have a short intro of Aditya. Over to you, Aditya.
Thanks, Abhishek, for having me here. My name is Aditya. Currently, I'm in my final year of my BTech Computer Science Engineering in Lovelyprofessional University. And if I talk about myself in brief, then I am a guy who used to love programming. I used to do competitive programming on various platforms on CodeChef and Codeforces, and apart from that, I used to love to explore the things right on various platforms, whether it's about the research or anything. Like I used to love to do various things, and apart from that, if I talk about myself, then in my meantime, I used to love to play the chess either in online mode or in offline mode with my friends. So that's all about me in very short, I would say.
Yeah. So you as you said about the programming and all, so this is very clear, quite clear about why, like you just opted for two placement offers, one from Optmyzr, one from LOWE'S India. So first, I just want to know, like, about your college journey. What you focused in your college journey? How you made to Optmyzr? Because Optmyzr is the first company. So how you made to that company? So can we have the answer, please?
Yeah, so if I talk about my journey in the university itself, then I would say it was not very good in the very first phase, like in my very first year. When I came to the university, then I haven't learned any programming language like in my first year. So I was not having a very good knowledge of any programming language. Like the very first language which I learned in university was C language, and still I remember when I was sitting in the class, then I was like, what is going on here? And literally nothing was coming into my mind. And when the midterm examinations came for the C language, and I still remember I have scored around 6 out of 40. I still remember. And the things was going on. Then slowly I started to learn the things. And I came in contact with many seniors, and they told like you have to learn the programming if you want to excel in your life. Then I started with the C language, and things used to go well. Then in my second semester, I learned the C++ language because it was good for the competitive and all of the stuff. Then I learned it. Then in the second semester, I started with the hacker rank, and then I started getting the concepts, like how things are going on, then how I can implement all these ideas. Then in the second year, like in the third semester, and uh, I when I started going to the some of the coding competitions, and then I started with the CodeChef and the Codeforces. So because it was a platform where we can actually practice the competitive programming, and we can implement our skills of the Codeforces and the CodeChef. Then yeah, in the very firstly the ranks were not so good, and slowly it used to went well, and yeah, getting good ranks. And then also like from this those practice as well, I achieved the ratings of the expert on the Codeforces and the 5-star on CodeChef. So that was a good thing that which happened to
Yeah.
me as well, I would say.
Okay. It was nice, that you are just having a good discourse and as well as good stance on CodeChef as well as code forces. So, like, we are just talking about college life. So, I just wanted to know, like, how much extracurricular activity as well as co-curriculum is impactable on your life and impactable on your whole like college life. So, is there any opportunity of that in your placement scenario?
Yeah, so if we talk about that extracurricular activities, then yeah, they play a major role. Like in co-curricular, like what happened, suppose you are associated with any extra club or any society, then you used to interact with the people, so they help you a lot. Like if I talk about myself, then I was a member of the technical member of the Amazon Alexa community in the LP itself, and
Okay.
there were a lot of seniors there, like who were actually code placed there, and working on a lot of skills, whether it's machine learning or AI or data science. So yeah, I interacted with those great people and getting to know a lot of things there. Like how things are actually working and how I can implement those things. Like, so yeah, So what I think is like, if you are interacted and if you are a member of any great society, then it also helps you a lot. So yeah.
Exactly. So like we'll come to the optimizer part right now. So like what was the full process of optimizer placement scenario? Like so just tell us in brief from starting to your like last round of placement.
Okay, sure. So, when Optmyzr came to our campus, LPU, so like it was a company like which was providing a huge CTC, I would say, like 25 to 28 LPS. So everyone got excited for it, like because that's not a less amount; it's a great amount. So everyone got excited for the same, and yeah, the very first round was of aptitude, basically, not aptitude, aptitude plus coding. And in the aptitude, I would say the major part was concerned to the core CS subjects. Like there were around 50 questions, like 10 questions each from computer networks, DBMS, SQL, and coding outputs, and 10 MCQs were there based on the aptitude, like percentage and all questions were there. And after that, two coding questions were there, and one question was related to the graph. And in graph, that question was particularly related to the DFS. Like we were given a graph, and we need to tell all the undirected paths in the graph. And the second question was related to the hashing concept. Hashing, like rainwater trapping problem, basically, which we used to solve in
Okay. Yeah.
basic interview problem. So yeah.
So like yeah, this was
Yeah.
quite good. Yeah. So like I just want to know one thing. Like the one our peers as well as our juniors are going to start their placement journey from next semester. So what's your key point for that? Like if you had to suggest some coding languages, so which language you will suggest to them and what path they have to follow for the same?
If we talk about the competitive side itself, like if you're the very first suggestion, like if you're good at competitive programming, then you can grab opportunity in any company, or in any internship you can grab a good opportunity. So if I talk about the languages, then anyone can start with the C or C++ or Java, and with Python you can also go, but I mainly prefer C++ and Java. And from C++ and Java itself, I prefer mainly Java, because a lot of companies used to come in our campus, not in campus, but a lot of companies are there who are usually working in Java. So with Java, you can get an upper edge apart from the others who are working with C++. So yeah.
Okay. So like we're just done with the optimizer part. So I just want to know about the loose now. So what was the process of loose? Like how you got placed in the loose India? So what was the full process? So just brief that.
Oh, okay. By the way, the optimizer was having 5 rounds basically, and I have explained only the one round. So can I
So
explain other
no,
rounds as well?
yeah, of course. Just continue with all the rounds.
Yeah. So that was the first round, and from that, I think there was also a CGP criteria over there with Optmyzr. So they put the CGP criteria of 8.1 CGP. Like you need to have greater than equals to 8.1 CGP, and with that criteria, as I explained earlier, like 50 questions of MCQ, and 2 questions from the coding side itself. And I think from that round itself, around 30 students got shortlisted to the next round, and the next round was totally based on the coding side itself. And in the coding, what they did was, like, there were 3 coding questions, one from the dynamic programming, the second question was related to the graph itself, and the third question was related to the hashing. And there was one more question. Yeah, so there was one more question which was related to the, I think you can relate it to the system design, not the high level but the low level design. Like what they said was, you need to write the logic of how music app can work. So you need to design the all the part of it, like how music website can work or an app can work. So in the form of the, like, how the backend structure will work. So yeah, there were 3 coding questions and one related to
so
the
this was like there was some time constraint for that music wala app, or you just have to. So how much time was there?
yeah, there was a time limit of 75 minutes, and we in 75 minutes we have to do all the questions. And after that, I think around 20 students got shortlisted, and I think for the company, 20 students was a huge number, so they did the shortlisting on the basis of the resumes.
Okay. So after that, what step was there? After that, what step
So
was
the
there?
third round was
Mhm.
yeah, they asked for the CVs from all the students, and they did the shortlisting. I don't know on what basis, but there might be a secret
Okay.
secret of the company. So
Okay.
yeah,
So
so
after
the
shortlisting of the
yeah,
CVs, what
and
was the next step?
yeah, so after shortlisting the CVs, they take the technical interviews, and in the technical interviews they ask the questions from computer networks, operating systems, and they also asked me about one coding question, like how can I approach it, and so yeah, they asked me about all the things, and yeah, the technical interview was of around 45 minutes, and the half of the minute, like around 20-25 minutes, they concentrate focused on about my projects in the CV, like how I have built them, and yeah, so they were concerned a lot about my projects in the CV, and half of the time they asked me about the coding problems and the computer course, yes, fundamentals. And
Okay.
yeah, and after that, one HR round also happened, and in that HR they asked me about the basic questions, like in the company, in what technologies I used to love to work with, and what are the major skills which I have, and what can I do in the company. So yeah, the basic questions they asked, and finally I got shortlisted.
Oh, congratulations for that. That's a great achievement, if I'll say. I just want to continue with loose now. So, what was the process of loose? How you just given the examination? Because as per my knowledge, there was just one hackathon, I think. So, by hackathon, they just selected the candidates. So, what was the process?
Yeah, yeah,
Please brief.
yeah, yeah, sure. So for the lowest India, like as you know, many of the candidates know, like lowest India is one of the Fortune 50 companies of the world, and they did the off-campus hiring from the Hackereth platform, and yeah, so from that hiring, like around 1 lakh, more than 1 lakh students applied for the same, and the very first round was based on the coding itself. They provided us with two questions, and the one question was related to the graphs, and the second question was related to the bit masking. And so yeah, if you are good with competitive programming and you have solved a lot of questions with graph and bit masking, then you can easily solve those two questions. Not a big task for anyone. And yeah, so I solved all those two questions, and then the next round happened, and in the next round itself they asked the two coding problems. The first question was related to the segment trees, like segment trees, you can say, like segment trees, and the second question was related to the trice data structure. So
Okay.
if you are familiar with competitive programming, again I'd say, because they are the advanced concepts, like we
Okay.
don't usually use segment trees and tries. No doubt, like you can use the brute force algorithms, but they will only pass the partial test cases. To complete it fully, you need to have the knowledge of the segment trees and tries. So yeah, I solved all those two questions, and after that, I got the call for the technical interview, and the technical interview was the third round, and in the technical interview. The all the questions they asked me about the coding problems itself. Like they asked me about. So yeah, as I was saying, like there were three coding questions. They asked me in the technical interview, and the very first question was of the hashing. They asked me, like it was a very basic question. Either I think they were testing me or something. Like they asked me about I have a variable sum, and I have to tell all the pairs like A and B in the array, like which they will from where we can get all the pairs, the count of all the pairs. So I applied the hashing algorithm, and firstly I provided them with the brute force algorithm. Then I provided the hashing algorithm. Then they asked me about the one more algorithm, like that was related to the graphs. Basically, like they were basically it was the algorithm related to the Digexter algorithm. The problem was related to that, and there was one more question they asked me about the implementation of the quick sort. So they
Okay.
discussed me the approach of the quick sort, and I also coded all the three questions. And yeah, because I coded all the questions, I think in the very first go. So there was some time left, and they asked me about one more question related to the uh, I that was related to the, I think, like oops, yeah, the question was related to the oops, and they asked me about the very basic question, like what are interfaces in oops, and how we can differentiate them between classes and interfaces. So yeah, I told them the logic
Yeah,
of them as well. So
means they were just quite interested with your tech part, so that's why they're just going with questions and questions, and they're getting you engaged.
yeah,
Okay, okay. So after
yeah.
tech round, what was
So
there?
yeah, so after that, then I got the mail for the HR, and on the same day itself, the HR was about to happen, and yeah, for the HR, they told me about they asked me about I think around 10+ questions, and all the question was related to the basic HR, like why lowest India, and like why lowest India. I think that was the basic question they asked to all the interviewers, I think. So
Okay.
why lowest India? Why? Yeah. What are the skills you have? Why? Where do you see yourself after 5 years and all? So they asked me about all these questions, and I was just answering. It was like 5 questions they asked me, and I'm providing them with the answers.
We can say it's a rapid fire round. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a rapid fire.
Okay. So like we are done with both the companies process, like how both the companies approached you and how you went through that companies and how you made to both the companies. So I just want to know one thing, like how much CGPA is important for the student? Like everyone's saying you should be focused towards the skills, no need to worry about the CGPA and all. So what's your point of view on that?
Okay, sure, sure. So, like, if I talk about the LPU itself, not LPU, and if we consider all the other
Yeah,
universities as well, so like
of course.
CGPA is important because a lot of companies like used to shortlist a student based on the CGPA, because in a university there can be more than 3,000 students or 4,000 or many more than that. So companies usually can't take interviews of all these students, so they put the criteria of 7 CGPA. Like minimum a student used to have 7 CGPA, and with the help of 7 CGPA you can set around more than 90% companies, and some companies used to set the criteria of 7.5 or 8 CGPA, maximum 8. Okay, so what I suggest is like try to have the CGPA of greater than 7, or uh, and being in a good position, you try to have a CGPA of greater than 7.5, and if you can work hard, then try to have greater than 8. Who is stopping you? So yeah, try to have a
Exactly, that's it.
CGPA of
Our
equivalent to, yeah, yeah, try to
yeah,
have a CGPA of equivalent to 7.5 at least, I would say.
exactly. Okay. So as we discussed all the things, so can you please tell me one thing, like why lots of people are just lacking with the coding part, and like some people are just extra involved in co-curriculum, some are like deeply involved in the coding part and all. So how people should manage to get inside a good company? So what's your
Yeah, so what I say is people is like in the very first year, second year, like you should start with programming. You should learn one language and learn data structure algorithms in the first 2 years itself. And yeah, curriculum is important too in parallel. But in the third year itself, I think you should not focus that much on the co-curricular activities. Because your placements are about to start, you need to grab a good opportunity. So you
exactly?
should start with only the competitive part, or the only question you should practice, because right now your main focus is to grab a good opportunity. Okay, so you can so I think co-curricular is important, but in the very first 2 years itself, and from the third year itself you should focus on the programming only. And yeah, I think that's all about it,
Okay.
because uh, curriculum is important too. So that's it. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so what's your last message to all the students who are just admiring and who just want to get placed in good companies and all? So what's your message?
Yeah. So for the message, I would like to say all the students that like in the third year or second year, if you are starting, I think you might can get late. So if you're coming to any university, then learn any language. Like in the first year itself, learn any one language like with proper concepts, and from the second year itself or the second semester itself, you can start learning the data structures and algorithms. There are a lot of sites on the internet, and a lot of resources are available there. You can start with them, and from the second year itself, or after learning the data structures, just move on yourself to the code chef and code forces. Just practice a lot of questions there. At least try to practice 500 questions before the ending of your or before the starting of your internships, because if you have practiced around 500 questions, then trust me, you can grab opportunity in any good company, because you have experience of solving 500 questions, and you might have solved that questions in one of your 500 questions. So yeah, that will be a pretty easy job for you to grab a good opportunity. So yeah, just start with one language, learn data structures, and apply your knowledge in competitive platforms. That's all.
It was a great talking to you, Aditya. Like our like viewers who's just going to watch this video, they're just getting lots of information out of this. And thank you so much for coming to this platform and just sharing your views and what was your journey. It was a pleasure that you came to us. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Abhishek, for having me here as well.